Hi, my name is Kimberly Inez, the Automated Thought Leader, and in this video, I want to talk to you about ethical automation. So, I talk about marketing automation quite a bit, and you may have heard me talk about ways that service-based businesses like coaches, speakers, authors, thought leaders can really use marketing automation to attract people to their business and interact with them. And today, I want to do something a little bit different. So I want to bust some of the myths and misconceptions about some of the topics that I'm talking about. And I really want to talk about ways to use marketing automation ethically and address any ethical concerns about marketing automation. Because a lot of times people hear it and they're like, ooh, I don't want to do that, Kim. I deal with people, not robots, and I am human. The people I work with are human, and I just really feel bad about giving people canned automations, canned responses, or pretending that I'm there and I'm not. And I'm right there with you. So I'm going to talk about some ways that marketing automation should not be used, talk about some ethical considerations, and then talk about how to get to a point where you feel comfortable using technology to work for you in a way that feels good for you. So let's jump into it. So let's talk about ethical automation. Well, let's talk about automation first of all. What is it? Because people are like, what is marketing automation? So it can mean many, many things, but what it is using technology to streamline communications from brand awareness to interest to actual service fulfillment. And marketing automation could be something as simple as sending you a message when you sign up for a webinar, or sending you an invoice reminder, or asking you for a testimonial, or telling you about a new product or service. So these are things that don't require the business owner to send an individualized message each and every time to each and every person. And this sounds great. But there are ways that it can be used unethically that I think gets mixed in and mars the whole concept of marketing automation. For example, let's say that there is a webinar, and this is one of the things that kind of really gets me about some webinar software. So let's say there's a webinar, right? You have an evergreen webinar, meaning that you, the business owner, are not sitting behind the computer giving the webinar at the time that the person is consuming it. That's all well and good, but there are many tools out there that I think kind of straddle the line between automation and being very dishonest when it comes to webinars and when it comes to giving off a perception that something is live when it is not. So, for example, there's some webinar software out there that will say that, okay, well, the webinar is starting in 15 minutes each and every time. So it doesn't really matter if you are signing in at 2 a.m. or signing up for it at 7 p.m. Usually you see this and it's like, oh yeah, there's a webinar that starts in 15 minutes. Let me sign up to it. I think that by doing that, by always having that evergreen webinar, but by pretending that it really needs to start at 2 or 2:30 when it's a recording, it's kind of a way to, I don't know, to try to trick people into thinking it's live when it's not, or just making people wait to consume information when they know that it's automated. So that's not really unethical as so much as I think it's a bit silly at this point, but that's just one example. But another example of unethical automation could be when you have false scarcity. So let's say someone signs up for a freebie, and then you ever sign up for a freebie and then there's a countdown clock like, okay, well, you got 5 minutes to buy this ebook while supplies last, but you know that the supplies are lasting beyond that 5 minutes. So that countdown clock is a little bit dishonest, or maybe some of the email communication, that false scarcity is a bit dishonest. I think that is something that needs to be addressed or needs to be looked at, because you definitely don't want to mislead anyone. And that's what I talk about when I mean unethical automation, is misleading people into thinking something is either happening in real time when it's not, or scarce when it's not. But when it comes to doing automation the right way, let's say someone has signed up for a freebie and now they get a series of emails telling a story or providing resources. That is not unethical because number one, you're not being dishonest. There's no artificial scarcity going on there. You're just sharing information. Number two is, you're not saying that you are sending them something in real time when it's really automated. So when I do my automations, I never give off the impression that anything is actually live when it's not, or I'm sending something when it's not. I'm very transparent when something is automated. So when, for example, there are series of automations like reminders for webinars, reminders for courses, or maybe even reminders for anything, it's quite evident that it is something that is pre-scheduled. And pre-scheduled is okay because that is really a good use of your time. But you want to make sure that you do it in a way that doesn't deceive. So all in all, I say, if you're not being deceptive, if you're not introducing artificial scarcity, if you're not preying on people's vulnerabilities, maybe their sense of a false sense of urgency, you're not targeting people who are vulnerable, you're not, there are a couple of other things that I can kind of go into when it comes to automation, but as long as you're very upfront and honest by the fact that this is a pre-recorded message and it's just a reminder to do X, Y, and Z, then that is totally okay. Another okay area is abandoned cart. And you may hear me talk about abandoned carts quite a bit. An abandoned cart is when someone has looked at a particular product or service and then they get an email saying, I noticed you were close to, looking at it, or you were interested. I thought I would just check in to see if you had any questions. So that is an automation that I've built for people. That's an automation that I myself use, but it's not saying that, hey, I'm looking over your shoulder and I know you want this. And, it's if you do it in a way that's not creepy, it's not unethical. So you can say things like, okay, well, I noticed you're interested in this product or service. Do you have any questions? Do you have any concerns? What is your need? Would you like to talk to somebody? So as long as you do it from a place of service, a place of kindness and honesty and transparency, then you can feel comfortable delegating a lot of those very vital and important, crucial marketing communications to your customers and to your leads. So I will be popping in to do a lot of videos like this, myth busting, just causing up a stir, kicking up some stuff, just because I want to address a lot of the things that people are talking about, a lot of the chatter, and I want to make sure that people feel okay with whatever it is that they implement, and people feel okay with technology, given that nowadays everything is so automated and now everything is so artificial. And I'm not even going to get into like deep fakes and AI and all of that stuff. But as long as you're very honest about the use of the technology, the tools, and the things that you do, then you're totally fine. So again, my name is Kimberly Inez Mays, the Automated Thought Leader, and you have been watching a video from me talking about ethical automation. I'll see you soon. Bye.